Very good. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So as we are welcoming in this New Year and this Shabbos, how about Shalom Aleichem? Now we're going to have a few pre-Shabbat service songs just to get into the mood, to warm up a little bit. So turn to page 627 for Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi-Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's a good one. It says, come, let's greet each other, and just imagine that the Malachei Hasharet, the angels from heaven, God's angels are coming to bring extra blessings in this new year on the Shabbat. So let's have another upbeat one. What we got? We have Yom Zel Yisrael on page 634.
Yom Zel Yisrael Rav V'Simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael Rav V'Simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. Tzivita Pekudim B'Ma'amad Nisan,
Shabbat U'Moadim
Lishmor B'chol Shanai La'arok Lefanai Maseh Be'arucha. Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael Rav V'Simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. Yom Zel Yisrael Rav V'Simcha, Shabbat, Shabbat, Shabbat Menucha. That's a good one too.
Ki Yeshmera Shabbat.
Ki Yeshmera Shabbat, El Yishmereni. Ki Yeshmera Shabbat, El Yishmereni. Oti le'omeyat beino u'beini, ya la 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 la. Oti le'omeyat beino u'beini. One more time. Ki yashmera Shabbat, el yishmereni. Ki yashmera Shabbat, el yishmereni. Oti le'omeyat beino u'beini, ya la 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 la. Oti le'omeyat beino u'beini. That's a good one, sure.
On the top of page 635, Shabbat Hamalkah, we welcome Shabbat as if she were a queen.
This is Bialik's take on Lechadodi. Later on, we're going to sing Lechadodi. It's sung in almost every Shabbat service around the world. But Bialik, this wonderful Israeli poet, 100 years ago, turned this into a modern Hebrew Lechadodi, to a modern Hebrew version. And there's also a nice little English piece to it as well. Ready? Chama merosh ha'ilanot nistalka, bo'u v'netze likrat Shabbat hamalka, hinei yoredet hakadosha v'rucha, v'im ha'malachim tzava shalom u'mnucha, bo'ui bo'ui Hamalka, bo'ui bo'ui hakala, shalom
them, Malachei HaShalom. The sun on the treetops is longer seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace. They don't write them like that anymore.
They do not.
But that's a good one. When I'm pretty sure your congregation, when you were a student a long time ago, they sang it. I know they sang it at my old student congregations in Jackson, Tennessee, and in Kokomo, Indiana. They loved it. And also way up in Petoskey, Michigan, where it was cold, goodness sakes. They'd have laughed about the chill that we have here. But anyway, for those of you who are Michiganders, it's right on the top of the mountain right there. That's where Petoskey is. How about Tzur Mishalom? That's on page 637. Tzur Mishalom, Mishalo Achanu. Tzur Mishalom, Mishalo Achanu. Tzur Mishalo Achanu. Baruch Hu Emunei. Shaban v'hortanu kvar Adonai. Tzur Yisrael. Baruch Hu Emunei. Shaban v'hortanu kvar Adonai. Hazan, Hazan, Hazan. Hazan et olamo, Hazan, 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 Hazan et olamo, Hazan et olamo, Einu Avinu, Achanu et lachmu, V'yayin shetinu, Hazan et tamanu, Einu Avinu, Achanu et lachmu, V'yayin shetinu.
Next.
How about just a little Shabbat Shalom for everyone, because we only have a couple more minutes. So I hope everyone is starting to tune in. In but a moment, we'll turn back to our service, and Rabbi Susan will light the candles. This is the very first Sabbath of the year 2021. So, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, Shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shalom. So go ahead and let's turn back to page 120, and we are just about to begin our service. There's a little English reading right before we light the candles. I think it'd be nice to be able to anticipate what it's going to be like when here in this Abrams Family Chapel, in another couple of months, I suppose we may be able to have people back into our presence. We don't know. Hopefully you get your vaccines and everyone will keep their masks on and be safe, but it will happen eventually. Or we'll be back in the Zwerin sanctuary for the big services, and we'll be able to see each other, and we'll start to think about entering the Sabbath and entering the sanctuary and entering these chapels. Let's turn on page 124, and we say, we enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth and love and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we,
in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer.
so we may be at home
and in different locations, not in the sanctuary, not in the chapel. But that's just a challenge of imagination. Just imagine that you're sitting right here, and Susan and I can see you directly, and we can smile and wave, and just know that we are surrounded by blessed and wonderful and family and friends. And so with that, let's turn back.
We'll turn back to page 121, 120 for the lighting of the Shabbat candles. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat shalom, everybody. So we in acknowledgement of this Shabbat service on New Year's Eve, have New Year's Day. The whole day is already, but still it's New Year's Day. And there's an old song, Shall Old Acquaintance Be Forgot? And so we put some new lyrics to it as the entrance to our Kabbalat Shabbat. And so this is what we got. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Yes, 2020 should be forgot and days of COVID blocked from mind. Once COVID days are gone, my dear, gone forever, COVID slime, we'll get back together again and have a really grand time. We'll lift kiddish cups, my friends, giving thanks for all good times. We'll hug at Oneg's once again. Our simchas will be divine. We'll still have classes on Zoom, my friends. Virtual programs are just fine. But being together with you, my friends, that's a real Sinai time. Yes, we're apart too much last year. We hid away from COVID slime. But with vaccines, we'll be back together, my dear, and rejoice at Sinai all the time. I'm pretty sure this won't replace the old standard, but it was a start to a new year in which we can think about the vaccines and the pandemic over and then getting back here together. So let's have a couple of Kabbalat Shabbat songs and we can celebrate each other. What do we have?
On page 136, Psalm 29.
Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Havu l'Adonai, Kavod v'olai, Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu l'Adonai b'chadra kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, El hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, Al Adonai b'koach, Adonai ol nemo
Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai oz lemo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Yai, dai, dai, ram, badai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, 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 dai. Yai, dai, dai, dai. Lai, 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 yam, bai, la, lai, ya, da, 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 lai, 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 yam, bai, la, lai, ya, da, 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 lai, yam, bai, la, lai, ya, da, 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 lai, 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 yam, bai, la, lai, ya, da, 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 da. I want to share with you a couple of passages from the Talmud and the Midrash about looking forward to a better year to come. May it be your will, eternal God, that love and harmony, peace and friendship may dwell among us. Help us to look forward with confidence and hope. Guide us in the world with good companions and good intentions. When we rise up in the morning, may we find our hearts ready to revere you, and may our deepest longings be fulfilled for our good, and make paradise our destination.
Eternal God, grant us long life, a life of peace, a life of good, a life of blessing, a life of prosperity, a life of health, a life guided by the fear of sin, a life lived without shame, a life rich and honorable, a life quickened by love of Torah and fear of heaven, a life in which our heart's desires are fulfilled for our good.
Amen. May we find the world in our lifetime, our completion in the world to come, and our hopes realized in those who follow us. May our hearts meditate in understanding, our mouths speak wisdom, our tongues sing songs of jubilation. May our eyes look straight before us, afire with the light of Torah, our faces shining with a heavenly light. May our lips utter knowledge and our inward parts rejoice. May our footsteps hasten towards the words of the ancient days. And may there be peace and blessing for all on this earth. Amen. It's a way of reminding ourselves that there is a promise in this world to come, in this year to come, but it's going to take our attitude, our determination, our will. And so let's just imagine that we're not alone, because we're not alone. We not only have each other in this wonderful community, we do have God's strength. And Lechado di likrat kala says, you know what? Look at the blessings, look at the love, look at that which will lift up our hearts like a kala, like a chatan, like young people in love and families yet bringing life to this world.
Page 138.
Lecha dodi likrat
kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha
dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmiyanu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shem tiferet v'tilam. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki mikor habracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Verse 5.
Hit'oreri, ki va'orei, kumi ori, uri shidaberi. Kevod Adonai alayich niklam. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela.
We rise and face the entrances to our rooms, to our homes, to welcome Shabbat as a bride.
Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzola tochemone am segula boi kala. Lecha dodi lekrat kalam. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi lekrat kala. B'nei Shabbat nikabela. So go ahead and be seated after we welcome the bride in, and just look over if there's a loved one in there and just give them a welcome to. Give them a Shabbat Shalom and say, may it be a sweet, healthy, happy new year and a happy and a good Shabbos. And we just turned the page. There's a special psalm for Shabbat. Psalm 92, page 140. Mizmor shel Yom HaShabbat, Tov lehadot l'Adonai, Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, Lahakid b'boker chasdecham, Ve'emunatcha b'leilot, Alei asor v'alei nabel, Alei gayon b'chino. Mizmor shel Yom HaShabbat, Tov lehadot l'Adonai, Ulezamer l'shimcha Uzamer l'shimcha elyon. Let's make this Shabbat very, very special. It's leading us into a year we've been looking forward to. Let's go ahead and turn to page 144, the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba.
Amen.
Na'amad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei.
B'chayechon v'yomechon u'chayedecho beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'bizman kariv. Amen. Yishmei rabba mevorach. Le'alam alal me'al maya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudusha
Barucho.
le'ela mincha birchata v'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alman. Amen. Let's go ahead and rise. We're on page 146 for the call to worship. Yum la 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 la. Yum la 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 la. Ya la 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 ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la la yum la la la. Ya la la la. Ya la 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach leolam vaed. Hamevorach, hamevorach leolam vaed.
On the bottom of 149, as we enter this new year, we say together, This is an hour of change.
Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim.
Ahavat
Olam Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Torah Mitzvot, Chukim Mishpatim, Otanu Lemadatam. Al Ken Adonai Eloheinu, B'shochbeinu uvkumeinu, Nasiat Mechalkecha. ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה.
ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני.
ברוך וברוך שמו.
אוהב עמו ישראל.
אמן. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד.
Please be seated. We continue together on 154 as we chant the Haftarah.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Let's go ahead and turn to the next page on page 157. Again, it's a dream of the world that can possibly be in this year to come. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth.
The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love.
From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way.
Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces.
Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive even in the darkest of ages your vision of a world redeemed.
Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osei fele, nora tehilot osei fele.
Malachutecha ra'u v'necha mokei hayam לפני משה ומרים ליענו ואמרו
אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כי ודע אדוני את יעקב וגואלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך Ata Adonai.
Baruch Baruch Shemo.
Ga'al Yisrael.
Amen. The top of page 161. Let us say together in English this evening prayer for peace. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael. Al Yerushalayim ve'akol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol amo Yisrael. We turn the page. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam oti le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim et ha'aretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. Uveyom hashvi'i shavad v'yinafash, shavad v'yinafash, shavad v'yinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam barit olam. So that was the Shema Berchatecha, the blessings before the Shema and the Ve'ahavta, and then the blessings afterwards. Now we're ready for the Amidah. Traditionally, the Amidah in the evening is only done silently, but we have this wonderful minhag of chanting the Avot and the Gevorot and the Kiddushah, and then going into the silence. Why the Avot and the Gevorot? Why? Because the Avot, we mention our mothers and our fathers, the Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel and Leah. And of course, the Gevorot says, thank you, God, for the gift of life. And the Kiddushah says, we can help make this life holy. It has that potential for holiness. That we can offer together out loud. And then we quietly think of the blessings of Shabbat and of acceptance of prayer and of peace. For now, we are able. Let's rise for the prayers we'll share together, the Avot, the Gevorot, and the Kiddushah. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu ve'imoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Chanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim V'konei Hakol V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imachot U'mevi Geula Livnei B'neichem L'man Shmo B'Yahava Melech Ozer Moshiach Magen Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Avraham V'ezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'elam Adonai Mechayei Meitim Ata Rav L'Hoshia Mashiva Ruach Marida Gashem Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei Meitim Berachamim Rabim.
סומק נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומדו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש. Continue with your private prayers, and when you're finished, then please be seated.
יהיו לרצון אמרי פי והגיון ליבי לפניך אדוני צורי צורי וגלי Adonai Tzuri Mego'ali.
Let's continue with the prayers for healing on page 371. And part of the core sense of our longings in prayer and our hopes for this new year are that our loved ones, our friends, will find healing, refuat nefesh, refuat guf, both healing of their body as well as this a healing of their spirit, because we need also to have a rebirth, a rebuilding, a rejuvenation of our spirit as well. That attitude to say, you know what, we will get through this, and we have to hold on. And we have to help each other until we get to there and even beyond, because we've learned so much in this past year. I'm thinking today, as this is the public list, on two sides of those who have been in my daily prayers. And I know that you will be adding as well. Some of you type it in, and some just keep it in their mind's eye or share it at home. My daily prayers go with Ryan Albert and Melissa Babbage, Grace Bach and Emily Belstock, Samantha Bernstein, Steve Bokum and Arlene and Sydney Brandt, Harold Cohen, Joseph Michael Connors, Frank and Aaron DeSena, Marty Einhorn, Dave Eisner, Ron Epstein, Ellen Falk, Stan Farber, Jack Fisher, Kelly Gates, Wendy Glasser, Marlene Gottleman, Marcia Gold, Cheryl Goodman, Lois Haas, and Jerry Hart. Miriam Hoopman, Cassidy Imnett, Laura Entefin, Oliver Jack, Larry Keel, Steve Koffler, Lori Lavenhar, Fred and Judy Lazar, Audrey and Larry Lazar, Adrian Levy, Dina Marks, Marianne May, Hugh Miles, Nevitt Montgomery, Diane Cushman-Neal, Nancy Nowak and Sarah Purdon, Bernie Rogoff, Alan Rosenberg, Shari Roth, Diana Sevilla, John Schuler and Ed Schultz, Daniel and Callista Schwartz, Raj Schwartz, Norm Sheldon,
Joshua Singer, Mark Sorkin, Sheldon Sperling, Ed Steinberg, Betty Stone, Barbara Susan, Yona Victor, Brian Utzler, Marlene Waldbaum, Jim Walker, Valerie Wasserman, Dorothy Whitty, Chris Williamson, Esther Jenkinson, and Aidan Zenon. Along with all those that you've listed and typed in as well, let us share this prayer of healing on page 371. Mishebeirach Avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishebeirach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit. And let us say, Amen. I want to share a few words, and then have another little song later on. So forgive us. Starting a year off with a forgiveness. You know, I keep hearing, I know we all do, again and again from people, thank God that 2020 is over. And after the year that we've had, who can blame us for echoing that jaunty wish that, yes, the sun will come out tomorrow. It'll be a better day tomorrow in this coming year. Today, the first Shabbat in the year 2021, let's start it by pausing and reflecting and considering some of the positive experiences that we've had in the year past. Now, I mean positive experiences without in any way, shape, or form minimizing the terrible hardships that people have suffered in this COVID pandemic. There have been millions who have lost their lives because of this disease, millions who have become unemployed, businesses bankrupt, and personal anguish that we've all felt because we've not been able to gather with our friends and loved ones. And yet we've also learned how to reprioritize our lives. We've learned some very important lessons. We've learned new practices of health and safety. We're washing our hands like never before. Hopefully you have some good hand lotion too, because our hands are chapped more than ever before, but God bless us, they're clean. And we've been much more conscious about the personal space that we have with another person, not to spread germs, making sure that if there is an illness or a cold, even a simple cold, that we keep clear of others because we don't want to spread those germs. We're much more conscious of that now than ever before. We've learned how to utilize new technologies. Right now, Lauren Lubis is on the screen, and she's typing away and getting us on the internet. And we've got a camera right here that's able to broadcast not just to our community, but God bless us, all over the world. And not only that, but it's recorded so that people can watch it at their convenience. And we're able to do that in this, the Abrams Family Chapel and the Zwerin Chapel, so that people can have a moment of prayer and to enhance our sense of community, even with our distances from one another. We've learned how to learn on Zoom. That's pretty cool. That we know that there are times, even once this pandemic's over, when we just are not up to going out of the house. Maybe it's too cold, maybe it's too late, maybe we're just not up to it, right? That's okay. No matter where you are, in this community or wherever you may be on vacation, you can still tune in to our Tuesday Parashat Shavua class to learn a little Torah, or to tune in on Shabbat morning with Rabbi Zwerin, or Rabbi Jordy's special thought of the week, or a lunch and learn, or a plethora of programs and classes that we have online. Even we can't be in our beautiful building, and we want to be here.
We've learned how to learn by distance, by internet, by Zoom, and all these other magnificent ways. And the cool thing about the Zoom, when we've learned, is that as we're interacting, we can see the faces of all the other people in the class. You know, we're not just facing in one direction, we're seeing everyone at once, and we have text that's brought up to our screen, and we can see each other and we can hear each other. We've learned how to learn even from a distance. We've learned how to love learning because, I don't know, we've had some more time. Instead of schlepping back and forth, I'm sure I'm not the only one. Susan and I have been reading a ton of books. I'm sure we're not the only ones. People are reading more books, and that's so cool. We're able to engage in some of that literature and the depth of learning that curling up with a good book gives us. And then we're able to engage in the discussions about those books like never before. We've taken the time to catch up on old movies and even to binge some television shows. I know that we're not the only ones because I hear you talking about these movies. Some of them are not so old. They may be new shows because they're coming out on either Netflix or HBO or whatever. But even the old ones, you can bring them up, and who had the time to watch them before? We have much more time now because we're not schlepping back and forth to work and our schedules have been reconfigured. That's a good thing. And binging some cool shows, and that adds also to the discussion. We have come to appreciate time and what we can do at that time. Yes, to learn, yes, to watch, yes, to fulfill some of these things that we've set aside because we're just too darn busy. And we appreciate that flow of time. My goodness, it was last March that we sort of shut down. And that was it. We thought, oh my goodness. And here it is, 2021 already. We kept thinking, oh, okay, we'll be out of commission for a month or 2 months. It's gone on, and now we realize, my goodness, a whole year has passed, and we will never waste the time, the opportunities to get together with family and friends again. I dare say when there's a simcha or where there's an event, where there's a reunion or some joyous occasion or some meaningful occasion, we will find a way to be together because we know that we can't just take it for granted, that we'll have another opportunity and another opportunity after that, that life's too short to allow it to pass by without taking advantage. These are some of the lessons that we've learned in this past year of the pandemic. Indeed, we'll be more attentive to those special souls in our lives. And when we get together with them again, we'll be able to hold their hand and look deeply in their eyes. And we'll be able to tell them how much we love them. It's one thing to do so over a screen or on the phone. But man, to be able to be with some of the people we haven't seen for months and months. You have a list of people that you miss. And when we have that time together, we'll appreciate it all the more so because of what we experienced. So yes, there's been a lot we've learned this past year. We've elevated our sense of appreciation. And we are realizing that we can get through some of these challenges, but we are really, really ready for tomorrow. Because you know what's going to happen tomorrow? Tomorrow that sun's going to come out. Susan, what do you think?
It will.
It'll come out, and this year is going to be a good year.
It'll be a better year.
I hope so. So, do we have a song?
We do have a song.
Yes, we do.
Would love to share it with you. And sing along.
The sun will come out this year. We'll be vaccinated in this new year. Have no fear. Just thinking about this new year. Back at Temple Sinai with our friends from far and near. But while we're still home, alone and lonely, just say the Shema with God and pray. The sun will come out this new year. Give us strength to hang on till the all clear. To persevere this new year, I love ya, this new year. So glad 2021 begins today. The sun will come out this new year, free of COVID's menace to our loved ones. We'll all cheer, just dreaming about this new year, hugging friends and family like we did in yesteryears. But for now, please lay low, go slow, and steer clear, so in time we can schmooze with Jews and say, this new year, I love ya, this new year, so glad 2021 begins today. This new year, I love ya, this new year, thank God 2020's gone away. All right, forgive us. We're doing our best. All right, so we're going to continue with Aleinu, page 586.
Please,
Yes. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lated gula yotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kigoi ha'aratzot, velo samanu kimishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kachem, v'gor aleinu kichol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lefanei melech malchei malachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. The Kaddish Yatom begins on page 598. Just be seated for just a moment. I want to share a little meditation as well as the names that we'll be mentioning and honoring their memory. When cherished ties are broken and the chain of love is shattered, only trust and the strength of faith can lighten the heaviness of the heart. At times, the pain of separation seems more than we can bear. But if we dwell too long on our loss, we embitter our hearts and harm ourselves and those about us. The psalmist said that in his affliction he learned the law of God. And in truth, grief is a great teacher when it sends us back to serve and bless the living. We learn how to counsel, how to comfort those who, like ourselves, are bowed with sorrow. We learn when to keep silent in their presence and when a word will assure them of our love and concern. Thus, even when they are gone, the departed are with us, moving us to live as in their higher moments they themselves wish to live. We remember them now. They live in our hearts. They are an abiding blessing. I just spoke with our Temple Sinai president, Bob Steen, and he told me that today his aunt, Lynn Gilbert, just passed away. She's in California, and so our heart goes out to Bob and Tammy and to the family. We also think of those who died within the last 30 days. Lottie Charlotte Brannon, the aunt of Dorothy and Jerry Gottlieb. Milton Brandwine, the husband of the late Linda Brandwine, the father of Marcy and Deborah. And of Dave Weisberg, the beloved husband of Gloria Weisberg and the father of Steve and Stephen and Elizabeth. And we think of those who died at this season in years past, whose yahrzeits were this week. Charlotte Bloom, Sidney Shaskelberg, Leon Dorfman, Irma Dotson, Betty Duffy, Donald Felsen, Herman Fishbein, Max Vogel, Rusty Gerson, Shirley Ginsburg, John Haley, Eva Heffron, Lorraine Hoffeld, Albert Kane, Lee Kramer, Marvin Kramer, Bess Betson Kresge, Albert Lambert, Shana Avery Lazarus, Esther Lesser, Irene Levine Reisner, Lee Lewis, Dr. Susan Mason, Harvey Menkes, Edith Miller, Eva Mintz, Sis Moses, Dorothy Paris,
Sophia Potter, Betty Rich, Ira Rosenberg, Fega Roseman, Edla Schmorgan, Eileen Swiderski, Ernie Ehrman, Samuel Victor, Bernie Waller, Ruth Weiss, and Shirley Whitkin Brown. We think of them and we say, Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for us a blessing. Let us honor their memories by rising and reciting the Kadisha Tome. Again, page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma devarach roteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon v'yomei achon, v'chayedecho be'Israel, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Shemei rabba mevarach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'tadar v'talev v'talal shemei dugodesha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'miram be'alma v'imru amen. Shalom rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu, al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Please be seated. Just a couple of important announcements. Tomorrow morning, Rabbi Jordy Kallman and Dan Yolis will lead the Shabbat service, again, 9 a.m. here. Rabbi Zwerin's class is at 10:30. I believe that's still going to be on at 10:30 tomorrow online. Tomorrow night, Susan, you and I are going to be doing the Havdalah at 7 o'clock. On Tuesday at noon, January the 5th, we'll have our Parashat Shavuot class. On Wednesday, the Lifelong Jewish Learning at 6:30 with Louis Schmidt, and that's the experiences as an interview for the Shoah Foundation. It's going to be a fascinating time to find out how that goes on. On Thursday at noon, Lunch and Learn, and we'll be continuing the discussion of transgender in our communities, as well as some halakha with that. Thursday, January the 7th, Rabbi Jordy's has the first of her class, Why Do I Praise? Why Do I Pray? That's at 7 p.m. And just sign up. We're going to send out almost every morning, Yoni sends out this daily docket. And that has the hyperlinks. So you don't have to hunt through all of your old emails. Just turn to that morning where it says daily docket, and the hyperlinks will be right there. Just press into it. And then, of course, next Shabbat, Friday night, and Shabbat, I did want to give a little heads up. On Saturday, January the 9th at 10:30, there's going to be the Women's Programming Initiative Shabbaton. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then on Saturday night, 6 o'clock, there's Trivia Night. It won't be trivial. It'll be trivia. It'll be a lot of fun, and hope everyone will be able to tune in. So with that, let's go ahead and have our Kiddush. Do we have a page number for him?
We do. Page 122.
Vayare vayevoke yom hashishi vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzabaham vayechel Elohim b'yom hashvi'i melachto asher asa vayishmor b'yom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa vayvarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i v'kadesh oto ki bo sheba mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam borei bri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kirishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho be'ahava v'ratzon inchelanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila v'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta v'otanu kidasha mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'ahava v'ratzon inchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat l'chaim. Well, that's good Manischewitz. So, You know what? Let's go ahead and have a prayer of peace for this coming year. Oh, say shalom b'molomav. Let there be peace in the heavens and peace for us, peace for this world. Oh, say shalom b'molomav. Uya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imro, imro, amen. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. From our family to yours, may this be a sweet and healthy and happy new year. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elech v'choneka. Yisa Adonai panav elech v'semnecha shalom. May God bless and protect you. May the light of God shine upon you so that you feel God's grace. And may God grant all of us, a world, a life of peace.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.